Welcome, one and all, to another live episode of Pacific 4 and 4 episode review. I'm your host, Mike, and in this afternoon's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 10th episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch Common Ground. Now, Common Ground starts off on the planet Raxus, a former planet of the Separatists, the Confederacy, and it involves Senator Avi Singh. Senator Avi Singh is being told by the Empire that he needs to let the people know that everything's going to be fine with the Empire taking control of the planet. Now, Avi Singh is hesitant about doing it, and he's not really sure that because of that hesitancy, sorry about that he's going to go through with this. He even says to his droid, GS8, that he doesn't want to go through with it. And of course, he is motioned by Captain, her name was Captain Bragg, to speak to the people. And as he's standing there on the balcony, he's contemplating whether he wants to go through with it or not. But before I get a little ahead of myself, I do want to note that Senator Avi Singh was voiced by a familiar voice, at least to Star Trek fans like myself. And the reason why I say that is because Avi Singh in this episode, Common Ground, was voiced by none other than Alexander Siddig, who played Dr. Julia Bashir for 7 seasons on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Well, he provides his voice for Avi Singh in this episode, and he did a great job. So what ends up happening is before Avi Singh is taken away by the clone troopers and held captive by the Empire, he gives his droid GS8 instructions to call for help. And that help happens to be our friends the Bad Batch. And when we get to Sid's place on Ord Mantell, the Bad Batch are there. And Sid walks up to them and says, I have a job for you. Of course, the group's hesitant about taking the job because they're trying to keep a low profile. The reason why they're trying to keep a low profile is because bounty hunters are after Omega, as we've seen with Fennec Shand and Cad Bane in recent episodes. And we also know that the Kaminoans have paid a high price to get Omega back because she is a Generation 1 clone of Jango Fett. How that works, being that Boba Fett was a pure clone of Jango Fett, well, science tells me it doesn't work, but plot convenience tells me that it does work. I don't know if it has something to do with the Force, something in the Star Wars universe that they're able to do that we can't, or the fact that it's just a TV show. So, Hunter and the group end up going to Raxus, which Echo is vehemently adamant against because it's a former separatist stronghold and he doesn't want to help a former separatist senator. But you look at it this way too, they're all in the same fight now with the Empire taking control of the galaxy. Now, the only one who didn't join the group on this mission to Raxus was Omega. And again, that all ties into the fact that Omega is a high priced client, or I should say a high priced asset in this case. And Hunter doesn't want her to be in danger, so Omega's left with Sid back at her bar so Sid can keep an eye on her and keep her safe. Because Hunter doesn't want her to be in an area that's swarmed by the Empire where the Empire can take her and bring her back to the Kaminoans, and the Kaminoans can continue their project. So Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, and Tech land the Marauder on the outside of the Capitol. And GS8 is there to greet them. And of course, it's even said by Echo, we're taking a mission from a droid. Because again, Echo voices his displeasure about taking this mission. So Hunter actually says, don't let politics cloud your judgment. Because politics aren't what's about this mission is all about, I should say. Sorry for the stuttering and all the confusion. But he says, don't let politics get away in the way of this mission. They end up following GSA back to the capital city where they set up surveillance. They see that there are walker tanks walking down the middle of the street. There are clone troopers patrolling the area. On the compound where the senator is being held captive, there's surveillance cameras, which Tech is able to tap into after Clone Force 99 subdues a few of the clone troopers that are standing guard. They get inside the compound. They do end up, after getting rid of a few more clone troopers that are in their way, they do end up finding and locating the senator, freeing the senator by stunning Captain Bragg and a clone trooper, and also an Imperial medical droid that was about to drug the senator to get all the information that he knows. And they end up making a run for it out of the compound. There's a walker tank walking down that Wrecker manages to put a grappling line on. They end up commandeering this walker, which of course is attacked once Captain Bragg notices what's going on, and she orders that another walker fire at our Clone Force 99 crew who are trying to get away. They manage to hit the walker that Clone Force 99 is, and damaging the walker. And the only way to repair it is to actually get on the outside and repair the mechanisms that are currently damaged. So, Wrecker and Echo, I should say Wrecker and Hunter, go toward the walker that's walking behind them, and Echo and Tech stay behind to repair the walker that they commandeered. So, what ends up happening is the walker that's chasing them is destroyed by Wrecker and Hunter, and of course, it doesn't help that there's another shot from another walker that's behind that one, and Echo and Tech managed to get the commandeered walker that they were in reactivated and working as best they can. So the senators in the walker, Clone Force 99 is in the walker, and the senator directs the Bad Batch crew to go toward the outer protective wall because it leads to a sewage system. So Tech pulls up beside the wall. Wrecker puts a thermal detonator right on the wall in a spot where the senator dictates, and they proceed to blow it up and go into the sewer system. Of course, you see a rat, and they make their way back to the Marauder. And before they even get into the Marauder, the senator is hesitant to leave because he feels like he's abandoning his people, the people of Raxus. And he feels that he would do them better service by staying on the planet and fighting. And of course, he's reminded that he needs to leave the planet and he can continue the fight for the people by going off planet and doing it from a location that the Empire doesn't know where he's at. So, Clone Force 99 brings the senator back to Ord Mantell. They get to Ord Mantell, where during this episode, Omega questions a move that Sid is making while she is playing a game of holo chess with a few of her patrons. And it ends up being a bad move on Sid's part because she loses the game. So Sid quickly learns that Omega is pretty good when it comes to strategy games and chess. And this all comes about because Omega's bummed about being left behind in Sid's bar and not being with Clone Force 99 on this mission. She feels like she's a part of this team and she should be going with them on every mission. But I have to agree with the way the writers put it in this episode because Hunter didn't want Omega to be in danger, so that's why she was left behind. But we learn in the story, due to the side plot, this B plot, that Omega's good at strategy games, and she's able to earn Sid a lot of money. Not only does she manage to earn Sid a lot of money, she makes a deal with Sid that she gets 60% of Sid's cut on any of the bets. So when Clone Force 99 returned to Sid's parlor, they see a crowd of people inside the parlor, and they see Omega sitting there playing the game of holochess against an opponent. And they end up seeing Omega win this match, but Hunter is none too pleased about it because keeping a low profile was the whole point of her staying behind, and now she's drawing attention to herself by having this large crowd there who undoubtedly would contain some people who would give her up at a moment's notice. And Hunter, again, he's just not too pleased about it. He wants Omega to be safe, and he feels that unnecessary danger will compromise what they're trying to do, and that is to keep Omega safe. And one of the last shots that we see in this episode is after Hunter and Omega are talking, is a scene where Omega says, I want to be, on these missions with you guys. So Hunter says, all right, then if you beat me at a game of chess, you can go on the missions. Now it's left on a cliffhanger note. So we don't know exactly, although some of us pretty much figure that Omega's going to beat Hunter in the match. If that's carried over into the next episode, that'd be great. If not, if they just give some exposition, that'd be great too. Either way, however they do it, we all know that Omega's gonna win, and she's gonna tag along on each and every mission because she's been told that she's part of Clone Force 99. So, what did I think of this episode? I thought it was pretty good. It was another side quest episode that we've seen a few of already, and it was nice to connect a few more story arcs of the Clone Wars, dealing with the Separatists and how someone might feel about helping a former enemy escape, someone who is now an enemy of my enemy. Well, as the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's pretty much what the story was about. And, it was great as a fan of Star Trek, like I am, and especially a fan of Deep Space Nine, to hear a familiar voice voicing a character. And when I was watching the episode, I'm going, that sounds like Alexander Siddig. And, I'm listening, I'm going, it is Alexander Siddig. So it was great. I mean, I was even joking, and Star Trek fans, you'll understand this. That this is just a holosuite program on DS9 that Julian's running, something that Quark talked him into, and he's running this Star Wars Holosuite program. I know. It's the fact that Alexander Siddig is an actor and he's going for the next paying job. I understand that. I'm just trying to be funny about that, and that was great. You know, I also thought it was good for Hunter to reiterate how important Omega is, and to lose her on a mission where they're swarmed by the enemy, well, that would be a bad call on his part. And also, what I liked and I didn't touch on, but I'm going to touch on here, is that Sid and Hunter pretty much make it clear to each other, especially on Hunter's side, that he doesn't fully trust Sid. But, you know, Sid is a businesswoman, and what interests her is credits. So as long as she can make credits while keeping Omega safe, she's in for whatever babysitting job she has to do, and that's what she had to do in this episode, was a babysitting job. And it was nice to also see that conflict with the senator, not wanting to leave his people, not wanting to make a speech of surrender to the people on behalf of the Empire. I thought that was great. This episode was great, but after seeing an episode with Crosshairs, and he was in part of last week's episode, and then the week before. I'd like to see a little bit more Crosshairs. I'm not sure how many episodes are left in the season. I don't know if it's a 12 episode season, so that would make it 2 episodes, or a 13 episode season where there would be 3 more episodes. I don't know the episode count for the season, but it would be nice to see Crosshairs come back and, you know, wrap up the story thread of season 1. Are they able to reconcile with him, by removing his inhibitor chip? Or is he a soldier of the Empire for the rest of his living days? And, what other factor will Omega play in the remaining episodes of the season? Because, just like The Mandalorian, Grogu played a big part in both season 1 and season 2. Are we going to get an appearance like we saw at the end of Mandalorian season 2? The rescue with Luke showing up, is another Jedi going to show up at the end of the episode? And I think you know who I mean if you've watched all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. I'm not talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm talking about Ahsoka Tano. Is she going to show up near the end and save the day and take on the name Fulcrum? Who knows? That's what mysteries lie ahead of us with the series, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of the series goes as far as season 1 is concerned. Again, I did like this episode, even though it was a filler episode. It was another side quest episode. But, I'd still like to see more. And yes, we all know that Omega is the key to everything. I've said that before. I know others have said it. But Omega is the key to everything because she's the key to the Kaminoans clone project, where it goes to next, where they are able to advance the program and keep their contract with the Empire. Somehow, some way, I think we all know that they don't end up keeping their contract with the Empire, but I could be wrong. But overall, this was a good episode. I'm gonna admit that I like the fact that Alexander Siddig was a voice of character in this episode, just like George Takei was in season 1 of the Clone Wars. Alexander Siddig is in this season of the Bad Batch, and they're not the first Star Trek alumni to voice a character in Star Wars. there was Luminar Ndini, who I can't remember the actress's name, but she played Amanda on season 6 of Next Generation, and the episode's escaping me, but it's one where we learned that she was actually a member of the Q Continuum, and somehow, mysteriously, her house where her parents lived was the only house destroyed in this particular point in time, and no other house was destroyed. The weather systems that Starfleet and the Federation and Earth had in orbit didn't detect any incoming storms, but this planet was, the planet weather system didn't detect it, and well, that house was destroyed. So, those are, three Star Trek actors that I know of that have voice characters in, the Clone Wars, or in this case, the Bad Batch. And I'm sure there are more. I'm sure I would just have to go through the credits, and if I recognize the name from someone I've, seen in Star Trek, I'm sure there have been many, because there have been some that have done both series. But overall, this was a pretty good episode. Again, like I said, another filler episode, side quest. And I really hope that whether it's a 12 episode season or 13 episode season, in these last few episodes, we see a little bit more of Crosshairs, because I would love to see a final confrontation between Clone Force 99 and Crosshairs and the Empire. So that's going to be my review for Pacific 414 episode review, covering the Bad Batch Season 1. And the episode, as we all know, was Common Ground. So, hope you all liked what you saw. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Pacific 414 YouTube channel. There are links down in the description below for all the social media, and also my Twitch page if you're into gaming. And I do want to also say that later on tonight, of course, at the end of this live recording, it will not be so as days go on, but later on tonight, for here on Friday, July 2nd, 2021, I will also be doing episode number 234 of the box score, and we shall see if the Cubs are able to snap their 6-game losing streak. But until then, thank you all for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have yourselves a great day and a great 4th of July weekend. If I don't see you before then, and take care.